Well, good day, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's Stop Press. This is not a toy review, and actually, this is an announcement video. Even though I've got a cargo train that's running on the background here with a very long lot of cargo, I can just see some containers, a bit of a fuel tanker thingy bob, as I like to call it, and some flatbed wagons, and a boxcar on the background right here. On the back of this train, yes, looks very nice to know, doesn't it? Very nice. Somehow it looks pretty decent in that sort of way. Hey, that looks beautiful. Anyways, so even though I've got 3 of the 4 souvenirs, as you can see, strangely enough, I won't be covering these up until a separate video, a separate toy review. But what I'm actually going to be talking about is a bit of a common question. Are toy reviews going to be straightforward? Well, let's just say phasing out on my YouTube channel. Well, no. Part of my YouTube channel is all down to toy reviews, and that is very much the norm on my YouTube channel. I tend to look at toy reviews most, if not always, so much so on my YouTube channel, mainly in the form of like licensed flip-flop toys. In particular, the toys I make are all derived from me. And yes, as I'm gonna go ahead and duck down, in fact, I won't be reviewing these toys, but I might as well just have a bit of a sneak peek on Slinky Dog for a while here from Toy Story. Woo, woo. Okay, maybe I can give you a kiss. That's better than just barking right over the wrong tree. Actually, my tablet is the tree. Oh, okay, looks like Slinky Dog has straightforward had a very bad day because I feel like I've just abused him. But anyways, I'm going to straightforward grab Slinky here and retrieve him back because something very peculiar about this Slinky Dog has actually came in towards me. Although he cost about 50 pence, I saw him and I was like, wow, I want to go ahead and grab him. Now, what can I do with Slinky Dog? Shall I use him as a Pez dispenser? Well, no, because obviously we do know that this is a Pez dispenser for like young children and things. But I just thought, can I make a video of basically, I don't know. Hang on. That's it. Maybe, wouldn't it be cool if I can turn one of these things into a USB flash drive? Like little, let's just say a little character that can be attached into USB flash drives. That would be much better than a freaking Pez dispenser. I might try and do this mock in another video on YouTube and see if I can make into a Pez USB flash drive sort of design, or maybe like a little keychain. Wouldn't that be fairly fantastic than just being a Pez dispenser? That would be much nicer, wouldn't it? Get rid of all the candy, the lollies or sweets. There you go, it's got Pez in it. But yeah, I might as well look forward and straightforward. I'm sort of anticipating on doing a video about this thing turning into a USB flash drive character. That'd be very amazing somehow if I did that. I'd like to straightforward screw out all that plastic, because I bet the plastic in Pez, they're very soft. Hopefully I can try and get this out, maybe in another video's time, but I'll see how this one goes. But yes, honestly, I'm just running out of ideas, because there is one peculiar thing that always seems to be the main cause of me not doing toy reviews, and that is the lack of resources of what I've got to contend with. So I've basically noticed that there's been a huge decline of cardboard, which is what I make for toy cars. And as a bit of proof to you, ever since the bin strikes have hit so far and so hard on my neighbourhood, it seems like that as they have started to straightforward ease away, unfortunately that is straightforward going to be a bit of a concern, because it feels like that, hey, seeing this doesn't look good to me. Even though cardboard outside of rubbish piles and roadside, curbside areas, well, you can obviously say, oh, that's very unhygienic. But then no, I just straightforward think it's a very good and essential thing to do, in my opinion, because I often tend to pick and then after that wash my hands and then give the cardboard a nice wash. And after that, I just give them a nice dry off, because, hey, what I do with cardboard is very ethical. All I tend to do is leave them to dry after washing my hands and washing the cardboard all by itself. Well, actually, all by myself, actually, because I'm the person who is responsible for collecting the stuff. The honey cardboards I often get, they're from Costco or whatever stores I go to. My dad gets these. I often tend to make them into like wheels for vehicles and that sort of stuff. the thicker bits of cardboard, the typical brown ones, I usually make them into like bodies of cars or whatever I like to make. And that's my thing, I just make them into like, you know, car body shapes. You know, I just straightforward, to show you how I make my vehicles, here's a bit of proof to you. So, if I grab this one here, it might be a different box, but I'm pretty sure it might have been, who knows, it could have been just a box. You know, this thing is about 3 years old, that toy car, and it really has aged ever since. And actually, going by the looks of the paint conditions, comparing to the other toy cars, which was like a blue Chevrolet Corvette and a red Cruze, it seems like that this one here is actually in very good condition. Very good, you know, the painting condition is actually very, very nice. I don't know, it seems like that I'm missing out a bunch of various resources, like white paper, cardboard. I feel like I'm missing out white paper the most, because that's what I always seem to use. So it's this color paper here, but all I get is just boring, ivory, just sort of silvery grey looking paper like this, which is mainly recycled paper. And it's all down to my dad's hospital. They are straightforward saying, hey, we don't need just, you know, typical white paper, we need something that's more environmentally friendly and more recycled. Maybe this is what we all want these days. Sorry if I'm raining here, but that is what I'm complaining about. I feel like we're getting way too many bits of paper which look like this, in that sort of colorization. And for me, it's not that diverse, in my opinion, because white paper tends to be heavily familiar, whereas I use that for my penguins. I'm sorry if I have to straightforward complain about this, but I'm very fussy in the way I tend to pardon me for that part, you know, what I create on what I do for my YouTube channel and what I create, and that's my thing, because I don't tend to, you know, straightforward mix up with two items. For example, if I make penguins out of white paper, well then people are going to straightforward be totally confused, but it's fine like that for me. I can just straightforward wait until the time when there's a large influx of white coloured paper, not grey recycled paper. You know, it would be so simple if hospital companies would say, hey, let's keep white paper as it is, because that is also environmentally friendly and recyclable as well. But then, hey, people can just argue in that point. What's going on? You know, I feel like I'm losing a lot of confidence because of the fact that I'm not getting that phenotype of paper, you know, the white standard looking paper. Maybe if I go back to Malaysia, hey, I'll be much more happy to get over 500 sheets or 1,000 sheets of white paper. But I don't know how is this going to be very beneficial, because bringing too much of it would potentially cause a lot of chaos. But nevertheless, hey, I'm still waiting on white paper. And so the fact that I'm just waiting for more thicker pieces of cardboard just makes me question, when are things are going to get back to normal, and when are things are going to get back to how they should be, and when things are going to be right again. I know Flip Flap has now been highly adaptive to this point by just, you know, and it looks like that the train is derailed. That's not that great. But yeah, changing new ways to solve, you know, problems in a very big solution makes it almost very easy, just like that train there. And yes, when trains derail, it is of course a common problem, but then hey, you know what, it's not that, it's actually straightforward off the rails. Yeah, I'm going to turn this off, because I feel like, hey, you know what, making videos of trains is not that simple. Then let's just say doing a toy review of anything else. Maybe that's just how it is, maybe that's just my opinion. And you know what, hey, I'm just going to reroute the other side here, because hey, other people say, hey, but I haven't done it, hey, but hey, that's what I like to do. I just like to organise things and how they are, and it's a tad fiddly and diddly in that sort of manner. But hey, you got to really learn how to straightforward solve problems. There's a lot of problem solving in the world these days. Some of it can be really hard, some of it can be really easy. It just depends on what you straightforward see. And we'll turn the train back on. Yes. So hopefully, yes, I am straightforward getting my resources back to normal, but in this, at the moment here, things are getting very much at the brink of extinction, because hey, you know, maybe my toy reviews could potentially get, let's just say, rarer these days because of the lack of the right resources I seem to have. But then who knows? I'm just straightforward making lots and lots of videos in relationship to toy reviews. Yeah, that's just who I am. I'm just straightforward, constantly seeking for more toy reviews. Well, actually, I'm straightforward, constantly thinking of various ideas. Well, the things I'm actually seeking for is more white paper and more cardboard, and I'm just totally and utterly desperate to get them too. More cardboard and white paper means a totally well-balanced ecosystem. But then, hey, you know what? People can argue on the point of what I'm blabbering about, because maybe it's time for me to change. Maybe I don't like them. In fact, to me, those changes, they're just not that flexible for me. They aren't that flexible than what I initially thought it would be. But then, hey, you know what? That's just life. You just can't use the same things over and over and over again. When white paper goes away, I know it's sad, but you just have to move on. That's the whole thing about it. And when there's not much cardboard, that also is the same thing as well. You just have to move on forward without it being totally abundant these days. Well, sorry if I have to straightforward end a little bit, a bit of a melancholic sort of feeling, but that's there for you to know of what's going to be happening in the future, of what toys are going to be shaping. I know it seems difficult, but hey, most of the time, actually most importantly, before I should end this video, most importantly, FYI, for your information of what I do on my YouTube channel, I tend to do the charity shop toys in a separate video. Oops, sorry about that. So what I tend to do to keep my YouTube channel a lot more flexible is I tend to isolate and separate nowadays the flip-up toys versus the charity shop themed toys, so that people can't get confused of what I seem to review these days. But anyways, I'm going to leave the whole video here. Sorry for that announcement, but I just have to straightforward let you know that my toy reviews relating to flip-up toys are getting rarer these days. But nevertheless, I will straightforward pick on doing toy reviews in the form of charity shop toys and merchandise. So I'll straightforward have to leave this video here and take myself a good shower. If you really enjoyed this video, please give this video a very good like, subscribe for more flip-up toy reviews and videos like this in the future. As always, thanks so much for watching, and goodbye for now.